Hello everyone, and welcome to day number 82 of your daily Chofetz Chaim. Today we continue with the 10th chapter of the Laws of Lashon Hara. The Chofetz Chaim writes in Halacha number 13. We have previously learned that a person should not tell others about how he himself was harmed or damaged in some way. And the Chofetz Chaim writes here that nevertheless, if you feel that through sharing this information with certain other people, a positive outcome can arise, then that would be permissible. For example, if a person had something stolen from them, and you know exactly who it was, you would be allowed to then approach people that this thief respects and will listen to them, and you can explain to them exactly what happened and ask them to approach this person and try to get this stolen object returned, and that would be permissible. Or the Chofetz Chaim says, even if it wasn't a financial matter, this can also play out. If you hear, for example, that someone is going to berate you or verbally harm you or abuse you in some verbal way, then you would also be permitted to approach the people that this person respects or their relatives and explain to them exactly what's really going on and how you are right and that person is completely wrong in doing what he wants to do. And if they will then be able to stop him, then you would be allowed to share that information with them for this purpose. And in addition, it is also possible that if you are concerned that if he already did some sort of verbal abuse once and he will continue to do so, and by speaking to these people you will be able to stop it from happening again in the future, that will also be permissible, because in either of these cases a person's intention is not to degrade the other individual or embarrass them, even though that might be an outgrowth of what is said. Nevertheless, since your intention is for yourself, to save yourself and protect yourself, that would be permissible. And then halacha number 14, the Chofetz Chaim says, however, it is extremely important that we do not miss any of the 7 criteria, the 7 conditions of speaking negatively of others that we have already mentioned, because if a person feels that they are right, it is very easy to have the Yetzer Hara convince them that they are allowed to then speak negatively about them, and that will potentially get them into a situation of speaking biblical Lashon Hara when it is not allowed. And therefore the Chofetz Chaim says we will briefly review these 7 conditions and make sure whenever assessing a situation of if you are allowed to speak negatively of others or not, make sure that you have all of these conditions fulfilled, and they are as follows. Number 1, you have to have personally witnessed this information and know exactly all of the details yourself, and not having heard it from others. Number 2, you have to be very careful not to assume that what that person did was halachically wrong, and this, the Chofetz Chaim says, is perhaps the most difficult to accomplish, because you need to really know all of the pertinent halachos to whatever damage was done and know for certain that the halacha is with you and against the other person. Number 3, if there is another way, meaning that a person can rebuke this individual or approach him yourself and deal with it that way without having to share with others, that is necessary to be done. Number 4, it is very important that a person should be careful that anything that is said is 100% accurate. There cannot be any kind of exaggeration, any missing details that might not even if they don't change the story, but even if they put that person in a little bit more of a negative light than they need to be, or than that actually was, then that would not be permissible. And because the Chofetz Chaim explains, this will add extra level of the person feeling belittled and being put down, which is not allowed under these conditions. Number 5, a person has to have the proper intention, as we explained until now, that the goal has to be for your own safety and benefit, not because you want to put down the other person. Number 6, if you are able to accomplish what you need to accomplish in another way other than speaking Lashon Hara, then you need to do so. And the Chofetz Chaim says that even if you're able to accomplish what you need to accomplish, like to get the stolen item returned or to avoid the damage that will happen in the future, if you can accomplish that without sharing the entire story, and even if you were to hold back some of the negativity of the story, you would still be able to accomplish what you did, then it is still a mitzvah to do so and to limit the amount of negative speech that needs to be given over in order to accomplish your goal. And finally, number 7, it is important that through this negative speech that you're going to be sharing with others, nothing more than the halacha would permit is going to occur. Meaning that if a person, by halachic standards, would only have a certain punishment or outcome if they were tried in a beis din in a Jewish court, nothing worse than that can happen through what you said to these other people. But if it will, then you would not be allowed to share that information with them.